Hey. 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 Hey.
All right, yep, it is just you. All right. One day we need to do a blooper reel. What do they do?
We gotta close the green room door.
No, we don't.
All right,
We don't need a blooper reel at all.
We are it. All right.
It's tradition with most meetings. Do we have permission from the elder to get started?
Yes, we do. First, I want to welcome everybody to the CSRN Video Minute. This is our weekly podcast where we come on and we talk about some of the things that we've done last week, the things that we're doing right now, this minute, like talking with you, and some of the things that we've got planned in the future. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad, one of the co-founders, along with Mike Leonardi, Jabril Bay. They're both on Facebook. You can inbox them and ask them, how did you guys even come up with that? I don't even know, but here we are 7 years later, and we're still here, still united for our people and amongst one another. Today, man, I went back and got one of the CSRN throwback shirts because we're going to get some new ones with the new logo.
Okay.
And this is all Black Lives Matter, Justice or Else. Got my Optigo, Twix in between, glasses on, fresh cut. All of the gray hair is gone. All right. Fresh cut, all of the gray hair is gone. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. I'm glad that you're here. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. I've got it written down so I don't forget that. Hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Jody, if you can introduce yourself. And my pronouns are he and him, all right? Now, I'd like to pass it on to Jody. Introduce yourself. What do you have on? It's always something unique and exciting, and I said that in a nice way. And also you have the guiding principles.
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, treasurer of this wonderful organization that just keeps going and going like the Energizer Bunny. He won't stop. I don't know. I am a brown-skinned, big bear, cinnamon tone bear of a man, and I'm covered in tattoos and wristbands of companies that I either own, operate, control, or things that come from my community that I help out because I don't wear shirts. I am wearing a shirt right now, but I'll explain in a moment that so I invest in corporations or businesses that are local, not online. I know we buy Black and all that stuff, but right now I'm trying to build my community by keeping as much money in my community without going online or to some nice trendy thing because it's cultural, and keep my dollars here. We can't keep giving away our money to outside sources if we don't. My clothing is representative of that. I don't wear non-descriptive clothing, so Nike, Reebok, organizations, stuff like that work with sweatshops and really aren't for the people, so I don't wear any of that. The shirt that I'm wearing is from one of two local farms, and again, the reason why I don't wear too many people's shirts is because I'm covered in all these chains from my travels and stuff like that. But I'm going to lift them so you can kind of see the shirt right there. It's from Sonia Organics. Actually, I think it's in a couple more days that the 4-year anniversary is about to happen, but I go there between Sonia Organics and the City Beautification Project, that is where the Art Tatum House is, and Eden Garden, which is, we'll be talking about that later in self-care with Brother Washington. I try and not just give back in what I purchased, but to the land. So that way we just had our first harvest and it was absolutely wonderful. But, that's a little bit about me. And this is basically something that we do because it reminds us that we're not just random people out here doing stuff that are fueled by reaction, but we have a goal. We have a purpose. And the reason why we've come together for the last 7 years, week after week, no stops, no pauses, no delays, no, I guess, political stuff getting in the way, is because we repeat this to ourselves. We make sure that before we start a podcast to give something to you, the audience, who may be unaware of what's going on in the world, we keep ourselves grounded. So this is how we ground ourselves in the rest of the show. So this is our mission statement. We are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, the Ferguson, Missouri police officer, of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the fact that injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children are We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often police brutality goes without consequence or accountability. Police impunity Police impunity has to end. Trying to add words in here, but y'all get the point. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and citizen advocacy to give voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events to help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable. Yes, accountable to their sworn duties, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally, yes, equally to all, regardless of class, creed, or color, what they show you on your screen. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. And justice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Another reason why I read from this, because it's not a script in my head. Anything can happen, and I think more organizations should live by that. You saw we get down here, we're laughing and stuff. It's not a structure. Yes, there are many things you have to do to make this happen, but if you're not having fun with it, why do it? This work is very hard, demanding mentally, physically, and emotionally. So you got to find some ways to keep that going after 7 years. To have fun, enjoy with it. I mean, there's things that we might have to wear some masks and come out and do some stuff for, but it's not because something just happened. It's because we want something done and we want something to change.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad I don't have to follow that. Julian, if you could introduce yourself.
Introducing Julie. I don't know. What else can I do?
Well,
what else can I do? I had to do a drum roll or something.
The comedy part is after the break. But anyway.
Waka waka. All right. My name is Julian Mack. I am spokesman with Community Solidarity Response Network. I have on a shirt that says Black King. I got it from one of those black websites in my Facebook feed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I assume it's Black owned, but I really don't know. I really don't.
Oh,
but
okay.
I like the indigenous type design on it. So yeah. My pronouns are he, him. And I also have on a solidarity, the fist, which stands for solidarity, which is also very popularized by the Black Power movement. And everything we do with our guiding principles. These are the CSRN guiding principles. Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow, and our leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe?
Ashe.
And Ashe means one who changes a thing. The most directly affected people are experts at their own struggle. The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling our stories directly. Ashe?
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe?
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor the past struggles and wisdom from our elders.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
The work we do today builds the foundation of the movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe?
Ashe.
Love and self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be the driver of our work and the indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe.
Ashe.
Principled struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct and loving communication. Ashe.
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe.
Ashe.
Experimentation and thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. Think beyond the possible. Ashe.
Ashe.
And all Black lives matter. Queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women's lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children's lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe. You know, Jody talked about why the mission statement, means so much to him.
And it's read in order.
Right. Right. And what do you think about the guiding principles? How do you think that helps us stay together, stay grounded, and keep us pushing on?
We do work in a conflict-driven environment. Inevitably, conflict exists in the work that we do, externally and internally. And without us having something, a skeleton to keep the meat on these bones, we will dissolve, essentially. And these guiding principles keep the meat, are the skeleton, and we are the meat on these bones.
All right.
As we continue to move forward and grow internally and push the paradigm forward externally.
All right. Okay. I couldn't have said it better myself. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back with Juneteenth. That's really important for us and how we're going to celebrate it this year. And we've got more than two people in organizations really doing it right this year. And we're going to show a special clip of one of our brothers, Hunter Prey, who did an awesome job on bringing the Mud Hens in the season forward. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast.
So last year was hard. A curveball nobody saw coming was something terrifying and heartbreaking seemingly every day coming out of left field. Isolation, frustration, loss. A city in suspension, a ballpark made empty, and the roaring of cheers lived as only echoes on the wind. Someone once said, "Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light. And somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. For there was no joy in Mudville." Well, we come from and work from the mud. Took that dirt and sand, melted down and built the glass. Even if we lose everything, we know how to make something special out of nothing. That is the heart of this place, this city, this people, this team. There's a beauty in the contradiction. That is why we cheer when rounding the diamond. That is why we cheer when waved home. After a year of silence, we are being waved home. That is the sound of joy after the storm fades. The lightning in the pitch, the thunder crack in the bat. The joy in Hinsville is back. Welcome home, Toledo.
Hey, I'm Dr. P. Not only am I a leadership coach, I'm a change agent and I'm a race scholar. I've used my study of race to dismantle systems and organizations, but I also use that to help you as the individual become a better leader for your families and for your community.
Did you know addiction is a disease, not a moral dilemma? The opioid epidemic and substance use have a major impact on communities of color and many people's lives. Wasion Wellness Recovery Support Center offers culturally relevant inpatient and outpatient behavioral health treatment and recovery support services to any Ohioan struggling with addiction, mental health, or finding sober, safe housing. We must recognize that treatment is available and accessible to all. If you are in need of treatment or want to find out more information, you can call 1-888-728-2713 to talk to someone or schedule an appointment.
That is correct. That is correct. Hey, look, we're back. CSRN Video Minutes.
Got these wonderful people beside me, not behind me, beside me.
Invites.
Right. Okay. All right. Hey, we're back. I guess this segment we're going to talk about Juneteenth. Why it's important. Thank you, Julian. Why it's important that we acknowledge these times that we can come together. Sometimes people may not want to celebrate Memorial Day or Veterans Day or the 4th or Thanksgiving or Christmas. But
why wouldn't somebody want to do that?
If we got an opportunity to come together and see people who we normally wouldn't see, take advantage of it. All right. So we're talking about Juneteenth. Saturday, we've got 2 events going on. Saturday, also one event going on in Bowling Green with Brave. Jody, did you want Julian to start off talking about what we're doing in Bowling Green, how we're co-sponsoring this event? Why is it important to take Juneteenth to Bowling Green? Because some people forget, hey, our students are there.
Well, you already gave him the perfect lead-in, so take it away, Julian.
All right, awesome.
Bowling Green, Ohio, is what's known as a college town, a college town with not much diversity, and that place it holds a special place in my heart in particular. When my mother originally went to BG, there were less than 100 African American students on campus, and that year the Black Student Union was founded, and with the task of doubling the Black population at Bowling Green State University. Today there's a couple thousand Black folks in BG, right? At least 1,000.
At least.
Yeah, this is my unscientific study and observation, but there's from my time on there's Black folks from all over, right? Not just overseas, but a heavy population from Columbus, Dayton, Detroit, and Toledo, of course, and all over other places in the country. And unlike the University of Toledo, BG has actually had a Black president, right? Dr. Sidney Rabeau at one time. So, but Bowling Green is still very much a white town, right? With a constant tug and pull between the progressiveness of a college campus and the hometown folks, right? That tend to be a lot more conservative politically
Mhm.
and regressive in regards to Black awareness. So it's important to, so I actually just got word that the United States Senate actually passed legislation for Juneteenth to become a national holiday, which is historic and a big deal. But it's important that we, when I think about BG, I think of a place like Galveston, Texas, right? I think of a place where the news gets to a little later in the Black community,
All right.
right?
Okay.
Where action may happen, and we all rise and fall together, right? None of us are free until all of us are free,
Right.
right? And in the same way that we weren't free until that last community in Galveston, Texas, got word that the Civil War was over and that we were had a version of freedom. It's true that we need to make sure we uplift our brothers and sisters in our smaller towns, right? Not just our big cities, but our smaller towns, our college campuses, and beyond, places like Bowling Green. And so me and Ruth, our CSRN co-treasurer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what do you call it? You got another word for it.
Administrative
Lead. There we go. Our administrative lead. We'll be co-hosting from 2 until roughly 9 or 10 p.m. The Juneteenth
That's
celebration in Bowling Green, hosted by Brave,
That's awesome.
right, which is a relatively new organization. One of our recipients of the Black Lives Matter Award, Anthony King, is one of the leaders of that organization. And so we are, in fact, the Community Solidarity Response Network. So that means that we
That's what
are
we're doing.
part of the community.
Right.
And that means that we also embrace solidarity. So wherever we can help, we try to do so. And so when that question was asked, can we help co-host? The answer was enthusiastic yes.
Emphatically, yes.
Emphatically, yes. There we go. Yeah, so feel free to check that out. There'll be a lot of people that are from Toledo performing there. There'll be a lot of performances, and it's going to be a groundbreaking event, right? It's going to be the type of event that folks in BG have never seen or experienced before. It's going to be full of Black joy,
That's awesome.
Black love, and Black power.
Now,
I'm wondering, do we have a flyer of that one loaded up or
on our
not yet?
page,
Actually, we have it on our page. Do we have one for the clip screen or
you
no?
know what? I don't think that when we started, we asked them, and they're like, I don't even know. So I guess we got to get on our tech.
It's okay. It'll be on our page
All
if you're
right.
looking for it throughout the rest
Heads
of this
will
week.
roll because of that. Heads will roll. All right.
And if you go to Brave BG on Instagram, you'll see plenty of information about it.
Thank you. Thank you. Man, what's going on in Toledo? It's the 21st. We've got something. Well, I don't want to talk about what it is because you're involved with both.
Wait, what's the 21st? See, no. June 19th, because I actually had
Why
my
am I always
sister.
saying, was Juneteenth on the 21st last year?
Well, we did one that was on the 22nd because of the events in 18th.
Okay, that's
So
that,
Paul's
that's
did one. I'm going to get to that.
thanks.
So,
Thanks. I wasn't totally wrong. Just
So-
really wrong.
a lot of people ask, which is again common because they're not. It's like Kwanzaa. When is Juneteenth? It's June 19th. For the people don't know, that's the official day that the people in Texas found out that they were no longer slaves, even though they had been working for. I asked if one of you have that. How many years after it was ended?
A year and a half.
Yeah, the Civil War ended in 1863.
So there we go. Ruth in the green room. She can call a friend. A year and a half.
I wish you could have put that flyer up. She hit the green room. I know that's
So-
where everything happened.
So with all the celebrations,
Stop putting all that emotional labor on Black women, Brother Washington.
Oh,
It's about to be a whole different
I'm sorry. I wasn't ready for that one. Okay.
I'm sorry.
I guess I'm gonna shut up. All right. That shut me down. Listen, you better. If you want to shut me down, that's how to do it.
Call it in next.
All right.
All righty. So back to the thing. It took a year and a half for them to find out that they were no longer slaves. And if you imagine that, we just went through a year and a half of us not being able to come out the house and mask and stuff, which is difficult. It's changed a lot of people's lives. But imagine if you were a slave pre that. So take that year and a half and multiply it by insurmountable amounts of pain, pressure, and cultural, I guess, stealing away from you. So that is what Juneteenth is about. A lot of the holidays we celebrate have become holidays because they are cultural and they can put dollars back into corporations. So 4th of July, if you really want to think about it, we genocide a whole culture to say we were free and other stuff like that.
Okay.
But this is the celebration of a people who were told that they had no rights, no nothing, and everything, and they had to live with that while the rest of the world was celebrating that they did such a good job at freeing everybody, but we forgot y'all.
Wow.
So when you come to these celebrations, remember that. Yes, enjoy the music.
Hey.
All right. So what we're gonna do right now, if we can, I've got Alexia, who's been helping to put on the Frederick Douglass,
Yeah.
Juneteenth.
So I'll get back to talking about the two Juneteenth events. But of course, one of the hosts and the people that are doing the event is here. So of course, we're gonna take a seat back.
What? She just getting.
Hey y'all,
What's up?
how
Hey,
y'all doing?
good. All right.
Just fine, just fine. Thank you for being here. You, the one that's got this started for this year. You were involved last year, and man, you did it with a twist. First, can you introduce yourself for everyone that's watching and who you are? What do you do? And what's happening on the 19th?
All right, well, I'm Alexa. First, let me say hi, y'all. This is so cool. I never get to be on this side of the camera, so this is pretty dope. I've been in the studio before, but this is dope. And y'all look good. The backdrop is nice back there and everything. But back
All
to
right.
who I am. I'm Alexia Sims. I'm from Village Academy, and I'm a resident of the Junction community. I'm a board member on the coalition, and I'm also on the affordability task force, affordability task force, and I'm on Toledo Water Council. That's just some of the things that I do. But the most important thing is this Juneteenth celebration. How it came along last year was we needed some way to allow the youth to be a part of putting something positive together. So I reached out to some youth and said, since y'all can't graduate, let's help put this together. And this will be like y'all walking across the stage, but we marching instead of walking across the stage. So I reached out to a few youth. We had a few youth involved last year, and we allowed the youth to lead the parade. So they led the march. And because we wanted to make sure that the youth was the main focus, is allowing them to see that we're not paid for everything that we do. Some things we do for free, but being a part of the community and the positive things that happen, you have to be the first that leads them. So our Juneteenth celebration, we have so many sponsors involved and so many community resources. We have over 35 different vendors who've donated book bags that we're going to give away at the event. We have community stakeholders like CSRN, and we have the African American Council from United Way. We have SNAP benefits on site from area Office of Aging. We have the V Project. We have the movement that'll be there. We have 20 Black horsemen who will be there to allow horse rides. We have Metro Parks. The symphony is actually, when we get done with the march and we march, so we're marching, the route has finally been determined. We had a little bumpiness with the route and which way we're going. So now we'll be gathering at Collingwood and Dorr, and we'll be coming down Dorr Street to Hawley, and Hawley to the Frederick Douglass Center. So when we end at the Frederick Douglass Center, the Toledo Symphony and the orchestra will begin singing Lift Every Voice in front of our large audience, and
That's
we'll
what's
all
up.
join in. I think that's going to be the coolest part.
Wow.
Then after that, we'll have food trucks and we can eat and chill and, enjoy the vendors. We got a couple bounce houses sponsored by Benchmark. So it's a lot of stuff going on.
And look, Alexia, we can barely get Julian here. All right, for today. How did all this come together?
Me and David Ross. So I don't know if everyone knows Gutter Dave or not, but his formal name, David Ross, he's one of the members of the Art Commission. And honestly, we started planning because, you wouldn't believe this, Toledo Symphony and the orchestra reached out to us first.
That's
early
awesome.
in the months and said, we just want to make sure we're on the calendar and we're on the itinerary to be a part of Juneteenth. And we're like, for sure. Because it was great last year. They sang Lift Every Voice, and it was at the end last year. So my only request was, let's sing it when everybody gets there. And from that point forward, we've just been planning. We didn't ask too much out of the Doug, just a clean space and somewhere to facilitate, because this event can move anywhere it needs to move. But with us only asking that little bit out of the Doug, Mr. Reggie there has been helpful in all parts of what was asked of him, which, like I said, we didn't want to put any burden on anyone else's. It's truly the resources like CSRN, one of our stakeholders, who reached out to us and said, we're going to be there. You don't have to ask us. We're going to be there. And we had a lot of community resources and members of the community who just said, what can I do to be a help? That's how those blessings hit.
Well, usually when I've been involved in a lot of things that have nothing to do with youth. All right. We're talking about, we may be talking about making policy. We may be talking about getting our political leaders in line or our religious leaders in line. I was involved with youth for 20 years at the Dougwood set. So I've done my tour of duty. Why did you decide the book bags? Why did you decide to include the children, which is really phenomenal? What happened that made you think about that?
Hold on. Repeat that one more time for me. I couldn't hear you. My fish tank was a little loud.
All right. Wow, fish tank. Oh man, must be nice. All right. What made you decide to include the children with the book bag challenge? And we were all in. What
Y'all
made you
sure was.
to switch it up and involve the youth like this?
Because I feel like they need positive people to teach them how to become leaders. You just don't wake up one day and you're a leader. You have to see it modeled. And modeling is the best way to teach children. And we know this just from some little research in early childhood. If I can model to them everything that I'm doing when it comes to being involved with this event, I feel like maybe it'll spark something in one of them and want to become involved in these type of events also. And how we came up with the book bags is because we know the kids hadn't been going to school. They're going back to school next year. So we knew book bags were on the shelf. They're definitely book bags to be purchased. We've seen book bags as cheap as $1 that were the
Wow,
characters that the children wanted. So I'm like, if all we ask the vendors is to give us 5 book bags at minimum filled with school supplies, we can't lose with that. We'll
that's
get
right.
plenty of vendors, and then we just want to give them away that day.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It is.
As treasurer, I wish I had found some of them $1 book bags, but that's okay. Our donation was happily made from everything I could find.
That's right. And I really thank you, Jody, for really taking the lead on that and making our word bond. Because when I first heard about this, I was like, well, what do you want us to do? But Alexia already put it on the flyer, and I'm asking her, what do you want us? Oh, let me look at the flyer and see what it is. All right. So
I am happy you did mention that because a couple of days ago I put it out and it's been circulating quite heavily about Swainfield. So officially it is now where the spot is on Collinwood and Door.
Yes, we had some miscommunications, and we're going to make the best out of this situation. So we will politely meet at Door and Collingwood if that's what they want us to do, and come down Door Street. And it's no problem. We're not trying to cause any ruckus or any type of conflict. Right now, we're just hoping that the city can see that the community is behind the Frederick Douglass Center, because it is up for renovation, and the vote is actually coming to the table. We're actually having in-person conversation with council June 22nd. So we want to get as many people as we can get there so that they can see there is a reason to get a loan out to renovate the Doug for our community.
all right, you know what? That could be a segment in itself. The Doug is like the crown jewel of our community. I've worked there for 20 years. I've benefited from the Doug even before I started working there. I thank Reggie for Mr. Reggie for keeping it going. And the Doug deserves that. You know, it deserves everything. It's historic. The artwork, the black and white artwork on the front is one of a kind.
One
And
of
I
a
think
kind.
right. So I've got some skin in the game. I've worked there. I've seen Reggie and others take the Doug from being on his deathbed when everyone, including myself and a few others in the community, had counted it out. And I always tell Reggie that I'm one of the first ones that doubted it when I saw him bringing it back. And I met with a group of elders that were committed to not supporting it, to let it die a natural death. So one man, and
That's okay because you know what
Right.
what we've done. I mean,
and I love his
again,
faith. I love Reggie's faith. I love what he's done, and I made it public that people will meet to make sure you don't do what you're supposed to do. People will meet and try to hamstring you from doing what you got to do. But Alexia, you keep pushing forward, regardless what anybody says. All
we'll
right.
make sure to get that updated flyer with the location posted to the page so everybody is aware.
I will definitely. I'll inbox Brother Washington as soon as we end this live. And definitely for me it's like we love the Doug. I told Reg, I said we should get some shirts that say we love the Doug, because whatever has happened in the past, please don't hold it to us now. We all have been given a second try.
That's right.
Let us flourish in the second try. And I need those board members of the Doug to open up their hearts and their minds too, because that's really where it falls at, is that people have became doubtful due to the presence of the people on the board who seem to not be letting in new energy. I'm the new energy that's been in there since 2017 when me and Kenny opened up 3 hearts inside of the Doug. And I
Beautiful.
told Reg then, even if I'm not here, Right now, we are no longer partners. That's still my bro, but we've severed ties, and I'm still rocking for the dub.
That's right. That's right. We are.
Good.
Exactly.
So we hope that we can light a fire under the board of directors because that's where it happens. So for those who may be watching, that's a part of the board of directors. Do your job. For those who know those on the board of directors, do your job. You've got a great opportunity now to make a historic change in our community. And it costs us nothing but courage. It costs us nothing but the change that we think that we have on us. That's what Juneteenth is about. Let's let the board know that you guys are free.
Yeah. And especially with everything going on and everybody having pop-up shops and looking for space and vendor places that have bathrooms and facilities, and you could have it indoors and not have to worry about rain or weather. The Doug is a great place for that.
Right.
The reason why we've held quite a few events there.
Right. And I'm feeling some type of way. So I'm going to keep it positive. All right. Because I love the Doug and I take this personal, but we want to keep it on Juneteenth.
Yep.
But we are going to please.
So look,
go ahead.
we have one good thing as we speak about the Doug and their board members. There's a new board member, and he's going to be DJing the Juneteenth celebration.
Awesome.
Can we get this type of action? That's what I said. That's the type of board members we want. We need active board members.
We talk about, man.
He is DJing Juneteenth for us. I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. There is life. Like I think the offer of him DJing just made me like, okay, we still got a chance. We still got a chance.
That's the job. This is a little board member clinic. That's the job of the board members, to be the biggest cheerleaders for the person that you got your name on their letterhead.
Yep.
Most of us as old guard, we want to be on boards just to say that we're on boards. But when it's time to show up, when it's time for us to cheerlead, when it's time for us to advocate for those organizations, sometimes we are quiet as a mouse and we don't step up. And it's time for us, if you're part of a board, get active. All right?
Come take your seat.
Look, Jody, look, there's always some openings, all right? And sometimes maybe it's a call for us. How we're going to talk about it and not be intimately involved. So thank you, Alexia. Thank you, the DJ that's going to be a part of it. Man, so, and we'll share the new walkway, the new
parade route.
Right. And those things happen as we plan stuff. People will Julian you. That means change it at the last minute. All right. And then, hey, we love you. All right. It happens. It happens. But thank you, sis, for staying strong, staying consistent, staying persistent. Thank you, Gutter, for using your platform. All right. He could easily be a quiet artist that don't come above ground. So thank you for him, for you, and whatever shots that you got to take, send them to me. All right. Any criticism, tell him, hey, call Brother Washington. All right, please let me handle your light work.
They can come visit me.
That's right.
We're gonna come after dark. It might be a lot of shots around there.
Hey, that's all right. We may have some.
Thank y'all, and I will see y'all Saturday at the Juneteenth celebration.
All right, thank you, Alexia.
Bye, y'all.
See you later. Yeah. All right. Hey, look, man, it was beautiful hearing from her, Jody. Yep. Right when she called in, we're talking about Juneteenth. We heard from Brave. We've got.
And I think the internet cut me off. I got a little bit too deep on the subject, so we're gonna go, tip of the iceberg stuff. We won't go into the holidays or just celebrating masculine side and stuff. So that was. I don't think I could do better on the first event than Alexia talk about it.
That's right.
So we do have a second event going on that we are co-sponsoring, helping out, that we're vending at, is the Family Fun Day. So if you were in Toledo, Ohio last year and that one was going on. But there was also an event at Walbridge Park, which we basically turned the whole park into a big family reunion, family picnic. There were artists, there were vendors, there was performance, there was giveaways, all kinds of stuff. So this year, just like with we just found out about the change in location and stuff over there, there is a location change. We are still by the water.
Okay.
Washington got the flyer up right now.
Look at that.
Make sure I can still be heard. Are we still being heard? Yeah, we are still being heard right now. See, we fixed it. That's my arm over here and everything. But so this Juneteenth will be down on the water at the newly built glass pavilion. One of the areas that was part of the beautification project in Toledo that I was happy as a city stakeholder to be a part of a few years ago. But the glass pavilion is down by the water. Me and Brother Washington rode by there. It's a building.
Scoped it out.
The only building, so you can't miss it. Everything else is just a field and some benches and stuff. But shout out to Shannon and
her business partner.
Her business partner, will say that, for continuing. This is the second annual. Again, doing something once is difficult. To repeat that process and know everything it took out of you the previous year is truly amazing. So this is the second annual one. I'll be there. I'll be at both events. I'll be marching in the first one. I'll be there till maybe about 3 o'clock at the first one. And then I'm going over to 938 Front Street, the Glass Pavilion, where I'll be setting up my table. I'll bring a mini art gallery with everything else because I don't have a wall. I like to work with walls so that way I can display everything. But I'll be there, and then I'll be performing. Yes, I'll be performing at 4:30 to 5:30. So you'll catch a few pieces on the revolution and stuff. I'm keeping it kid friendly because this is a family fun day. Right. And we just want to celebrate. We'll have the water, we'll have vendors, I think we might have food trucks or food vendors. There's a food war. Throw that back up again. There's a food war going on. So make sure you come down. Again, Toledo is a city of almost 250,000 people. There are several other events going on. If we can find them, we'll post them up. But these are the 3, because we got BG.
That's right.
That we're definitely intricately involved in. So you'll see this on our page more than you'll see other stuff. But if you can make it, this one goes on until 8 p.m. So you can go do both. They're not that far away from each other. Frederick Douglass Center. And then we have East Side, which people don't come visit me at that much and stuff.
And for good reason. But still, hey, take a chance and come over and see us on the East Side. All right?
Yep. So I hope to see you at both events. I hope that you celebrate the best way you can. Again, you don't have to go out to all these huge celebrations. You can celebrate with your family. Maybe read a book up on the history of what Juneteenth is if you're uneducated to that. I think that is something that we definitely need to do more versus seeing some picture or some post and be like, I'm going to be mad. Well, find out why you're mad. Find out where the history of this thing comes from before just typing it out and being upset when you're wrong.
All right. You know what? That's the right there is the Juneteenth March and Festival from 1 to 4.
And we will get the correct flyer up with the Collingwood and Door.
Right. It's at the Doug. We're leaving from Collingwood and Door at 1 o'clock. We're leaving from Collingwood and Door at 1 o'clock. We'll have the new flyer up just in case some of the times that Jody just said are wrong. All right. We'll make sure we have that up. Hey, listen, we are going to take a short break, Jody. And when we come back,
we might have to grab somebody out the green room.
All right. When we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming election and what's happening in Lucas County. We'll talk about some of the things that's happening at Rescue Crisis. We talked about this last week, how some of the, how it's going away and how important that is. So stay tuned. This is CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We'll be right back.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
Mystery music.
An exclusive one-stop shop for performing arts programs for grades 3 through grades 12.
Promoting academic and social success through the performing arts.
Offering drumline, step team, pitch instrument training, vocal performance training, and theatrical etiquette training.
We've been around for nearly a decade.
Unfortunately, times have been challenging inside of this pandemic. However, with the help of people like you and our adjoining communities, we will be able to get back to helping our wonderful students be the best version of themselves that they can be. So, at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday, June 9th, 2021, that's tomorrow, we will be launching our all-new Rescue the Arts Initiative fundraiser to aid in supplementing funding for our 5 musical mysteries after-school performing arts programs year after year. Will you help us continue to inspire our students' dreams? Tomorrow, Wednesday, June 9th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, attend our live stream Rescue the Arts launch party at RescueTheArts.com. And let's rescue the arts together.
Hey, that was Mystery Music with our brother Eric Dixon. RescueTheMusic.com helped this awesome youth program. They practice right on our campus. They have a drum line, they have dancers, they have actual young people playing instruments. RescueTheMusic.com, that's Mystery Music with our brother Eric Dixon. Most of us talk about, well, why aren't there things for young people to do? Well, Eric is doing it. He's doing it right now. And man, he comes from an awesome family of the Dixons, who were the leaders of the band at Scott High School. And there's been no one to do it as they did. All right, we are back.
And you know that little sound at the end of the video?
Yeah.
That was Julian popping out and Ruth popping in.
Okay, all right. That's okay. All right. Okay. I thought I was the funny one, but anyway, we're back. Hey, and we've got Ruth today, who serves as the lead of our administrative core. Someone has to stamp approval. Someone has to click that go lever. Someone has to get it on and popping. And it's Ruth, and it's awesome to have you. It is definitely it's a pleasure being able to organize with you for the last few years and do some of the things that I know that I wouldn't be able to do on my own. And do some things that no one would be able to replicate ever. So what we wanted to ask of you, man, it's so much going on in the community, so much going on in the nation. What are some of maybe the top 3 things that you think we should be taking a look at?
So number 1, I'll start globally and come in locally. So
did we say who you are?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. My name is Ruth Leonard. I am the administrative lead.
That's right.
I am a brown-skinned Black woman. I am competing in the Mo Blacka Awards this year, so my complexion will get darker.
Ooh, okay.
Encourage your children to go outside and play in the sun. It is okay to get darker, but also remember to wear sunscreen, because Black folks can still get skin cancer. But I have on a black unitard, and I'm wearing a pair of denim jeans, wearing a gold necklace, and my hair is in braids wrapped up in a bun. So globally, I heard yesterday, I believe, President Joe Biden was speaking at the NATO conference.
Right.
And there was a lot of conversations about China. There was a lot of conversations about Russia. I do not have a political science degree, but I can tell you that it is very important to pay very close attention to the relationship that the United States has with both of those countries. I know that there has been a lot of talk about the infrastructure that's taken place in Africa through Chinese companies, as well as just in general the behavior of President Putin, especially coming out of the Trump administration and going into the Biden administration. So just keep an eye on how that's working. Also, there's been lots of conversation in regards to Kamala Harris and her comments about telling immigrants not to come to the United States. And I haven't had a chance to dig into what that was in relation to. I don't know if it's a safety issue or if she was simply telling them that because of the safety issue and the overall racism of America, because America is racist, that they should not come. But just be aware of what's happening on a global scale with the leaders of the country. Now, moving in locally, I know that if you are still on unemployment, June 26th will be the last day that you receive the additional $300 for the unemployment compensation. So make sure that if you are still unable to find work, that you realize that you will be going back down to whatever your original unemployment income was. So just be aware, the 26th, so you have 2 more payments from unemployment before that extra $300 gets cut off. Ohio was one of, I believe, 25 states that the governors decided that the additional help was no longer necessary because the pandemic is over. Okay.
Hey.
Now moving even more locally. So we have a series of individuals who screened with the Democratic Party. I'm not sure who screened with the Republican Party or if anyone did. But for city council elections coming up, there are, I believe it was a total of 11 people that I last counted that have submitted their names and pulled petitions to run for city council. I believe this is the election where there are 6 spots for at large that are up for election. And I believe out of those 6, 2 of those are appointed individuals. So please make sure that if you are interested in how the city of Toledo runs as a whole, that you pay very close attention to individuals who are running or who are incumbents. The final thing that I would like to draw your attention to is, I don't know if it came out today, but there is the city's pamphlet, if you will, and I'll be posting that to Facebook, to CSRN's Facebook and the website. It is a pamphlet of all of the summer activities that are taking place in the city of Toledo for the entire summer. I know that
That's
the
awesome.
pool is open, or it is opening, and that they were looking for people to work at the pool. But also, these are all of the events that anyone who has a program that submitted it to the city, I guess, has the dates and the times and the locations that these activities will be taking place. Also, the main thing, if you get a chance to pull the pamphlet, the mayor has a letter at the beginning of the pamphlet, which is, for the first time in a long time, I will give credit to Mayor Kapsakevich, as well as whoever proofread it, because it finally acknowledges, if not outrightly states, that there is an inequality in how children have access. And how his children have a different level of access than, say, the students that I taught last school year or school year before last. And so for one thing to at least acknowledge that, I do appreciate. And this is also coming in the midst of critical race theory becoming a hot button topic.
Right.
If you do not know what critical race theory is, please keep in mind, it is a collegiate level theory or discipline. So it is something that is mostly discussed and acknowledged and articulated on the graduate, if not postgraduate level. However, there are ways to include it in the curriculum for students. I do not believe that TPS has any plans to change the curriculum for to include critical race theory. But if you look very close at a lot of teachers who are well versed in socioeconomic inequalities or just race theory in general, then you will see parts of things like the 1619 Project or even Ava DuVernay's work that she has done based on the happenings of individuals who have been affected directly because of their race. You'll see that being included in their classrooms. And so that, I think, is where I'm going to stop. Oh, the final thing, if you are not aware of what Juneteenth is, if it is too much for you to Google and research, there is the infamous episode of Blackish that talks about what Juneteenth is, and it's got cartoons, it's got humans, it's got songs, it's a musical episode that brings everything together in a way that is palatable, that you can sit down with your family and watch it. We have had decades of not generations of individuals who have been able to celebrate and continue to celebrate the 4th of July. There are sales nonstop at places like Old Navy, Walmart, blah, 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 that celebrate the red, white, and blue. But we can also give that same energy, that same fiscal responsibility, that same inclusion to Juneteenth. So once again, if you do not know, you can research, and there are plenty of opportunities, as has already been discussed, to celebrate. This is a time of celebration. Just like we celebrated the end of the Trump administration and the beginning of the Biden administration, it was a day to just take it and take the win, because we knew that the work wasn't over. So for Juneteenth, it's a day to take the win, because what people don't realize a lot of times is that the end of slavery was the beginning of Jim Crow. So you get that day. So take the day, learn from it, and enjoy your weekend, guys.
Hey, listen, somebody just texted me and wanted to know, did you have any comment on our sister Naomi Osaka?
Oh my gosh. Sports shorts. So Naomi Osaka, if you do not know, she is, oh my gosh, I would say all of 21, 22 years old. She is a Black and Japanese descent, and she is an iconic tennis player. She's actually the woman, or the young woman, who beat Serena Williams out of, I believe it was the French Open title. And recently she went on the record to say, I am not doing any more of the interviews post challenges. And a lot of times what people may not realize is that when you do those interviews post an event, people are trying to get to the nitty gritty of how you felt or how you feel. And a lot of times it's rooted in microaggressions and flat out racism.
That's right. And
Naomi is very young, but she's also coming up in that second generation of tennis players and of individuals in general who are recognizing the importance of mental health. And Naomi Osaka went on record to say that in one interview, she just stated that she was sad after she had won, and just because she had to sit there and talk to people about what had happened. And with this last round, she stated that she did not want to go on the press junket. And she was met with a $15,000 fine. And in true Black womanness, she said, well, I hope that they use that fine money to donate it towards some sort of mental health initiative. Later on, I believe it was another challenge that they said, well, if you don't do it, then we'll give you another fine. And it was just racism and sexism, and she's being a spoiled millennial type of conversation. And she basically opted out of the French Open because it wasn't worth her mental health to do something that she already knew she was good at, that she had already proven that she was one of the best. And I mean, I don't know about you, but if I have a good day, the last thing that I want to do is talk to a bunch of people about whether or not my Blackness made it a good day, or whether or not I believe that my talent is based on my race. Like it's all of these little things that chip away at you as a person, that I can stand up and say that I'm proud of Naomi Osaka for acknowledging the fact that work won't love you back, and recognizing that you have to put yourself first. And if that means that she doesn't compete in the French Open, then so be it. She's still the best.
That's right.
Like, she can still whoop me any day on the tennis courts.
And probably me too.
And definitely you too. And you over there in the green room. But yeah, there's definitely an appreciation to Naomi Osaka for just
I love it.
acknowledging the fact that, I mean, it's not worth your mental health and
No.
your own personal happiness to make somebody else happy. And on that same token, shout out to Simone Biles.
That's right.
Where Gabby Douglas walked so she could jump, because goodness gracious. Simone Biles, I've seen her video in slow motion, in fast motion, in reverse. I slapped it down, flipped it, and reversed it. Simone Biles won her seventh gold medal, I believe, since 2000. She hasn't lost or hasn't come in second place since 2013.
That's right.
So she has been phenomenal, and even in the face of judges telling her that she cannot perform certain stunts because other people can't do them. Like, if that ain't a flex, I don't know what is. America. Because that definitely is America. But yeah, definitely shout out to both Naomi Osaka for putting mental health first, to Simone Biles for keeping her mental health in check to be able to do the work that comes day in and day out under the scrutiny of something as challenging as gymnastics. And Black women in general, y'all lit.
That's right.
And I also want to say,
okay.
Thank you for coming back. We missed you very much.
I was in Maryland.
Right.
I had to go visit my nieces and my mama and my daddy and my brothers and my friends.
It sounds like a road trip. All right. Hey. All right.
Graduations and stuff.
Yes, my niece, I love you, Cinnabon. She graduated from high school, and my other niece is 1 year old, and my other niece graduated from middle school, and my nephew is 2 hands.
All right. Okay. All right. Okay. Hey, look, this is Men's Mental Health Month. We're going to come back. I'm going to bring Julian back. We're going to talk about how do we stay balanced in the pandemic. All right. It just didn't stop. They just needed to make more money. So we're going to come back, talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
And since we are shifting into men's mental health, I want to give one more shout out to a wonderful intern that we just had.
Brianna Camden.
Brianna Camden. We miss you, Brianna.
Yes, we
Right.
We love you.
Right. Somebody got to go get those files out there, Captain.
Oh, my gosh.
All right. That's a hater for
That
me.
was him.
All right. Right. So listen, stay tuned. We'll be right back. We're going to play the Bike Rides Matter.
Yeah.
They meet every Sunday for the Glow Roll, Uptown Green, 8:30 they meet, 9 o'clock they ride. That helps with mental health too.
Yes.
All right. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you can ride a bike without falling, then you're good to go. Bike Rides Matter. It's a community bike group. We get together for fun, fitness, and fellowship. We ride weekly. Right now, we got a Tuesday ride where we ride on the UT Trail. We do Saturday right here at Uptown Green. That's our Glow Roll Saturday night. It was something I was already doing with my daughter, just riding bikes, and we just decided it would be cool to add the community because we were just finding ways to make fun given the situation. Being that everything was closed down and options were limited, bike riding is one of those things you can do without any restrictions.
You get to make new friends and just like interact with people, especially during COVID. You still like have your mask on and stuff, but it's still good to like see people.
It's a cool way to stay fit. We talk while we riding, we got music while we riding. I've met quite a few new friends and new people. I made some real cool connections throughout the city. Take advantage of the time you have. Take advantage of this pandemic. I know it's a lot of restrictions, but you can be creative and find new ways to have fun, one of which is this right here.
We are back. This is the CSRN Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We Hey, we got Julian back. How did that happen?
I missed that sound effect this time.
Right. Hey, before we get right into Julian, I do want to just let everybody know that if you want to support CSRN, just go to our you can go to our page. You can go to our Cash App, CSRN 419. PayPal is the same, and we'll probably be putting it on the little crawler where people can go to our site, support us however they can. Hey, next, it is Men's Mental Health Month, Father's Day coming up, so it's kind of all about us right now, really, until Ruth says it's not. But anyway, I want to talk about men's mental health and also how that relates to some of the things that are going on in the city too. So my question to all three of us, what do you do to stay balanced, especially if we're engaged in activist culture, protest culture, which is trauma in itself? All right. What do you do to keep yourself balanced, stable, and solid to keep on to the next day or the next week? Either Julian, Jody, how do you do it? Because you're still here.
Yeah, many hands make light work. I've realized over time that it's the mature thing to do to be intentional about the burden you may carry, whether it be mentally, emotionally, physically, or even financial.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is to there's no shame in saying you need help, right? Like that simple, realizing that simple point is, I think, revolutionary. There's no shame in needing help. So when life happens, all right, life is not fair.
And it does.
Life is not fair, and life is difficult. But it can be a beautiful struggle. But it's to be intentional about building a support system, right? To be intentional, right? I can't control the ups and downs and the traumatic things that may be experienced. I can't control the when and how these things happen, but I can control how I deal with it, right? Maybe not my initial reaction, but the ongoing weight that's on my soul, right? That how I deal with that over a long term.
Yeah.
Many hands make light work, right? So I talk about it. I share with a group of men, older and younger. And the reason why I say men is just because it a lot of times in relationships, it can be easier for ulterior motives to seep into the conversation, to seep into the dialogue, right? I have no romantic interest in Brother Washington, right? And so I can have a straight up conversation with him about my where I fall short as a man, where I need to improve as a man. And it really helps to put the ego aside, right? When there's not these ulterior motives that sometimes can arise, and I think that's important to be intentional with that and deliberate.
Okay, all right. That's awesome, because all of us should consider having someone to talk to.
Yeah.
I'm married, but there's some things that I have a chip on my shoulder and talking to my wife about, or she the same, because we're too familiar in a very intimate way where we may not get that unbiased opinion on a thing. So since if there are no feelings or romantic feelings or business relationship involved, it allows for us to be able to parse and really get into the meat of what's bugging us or what may have what may be troubling us. Jody,
can I add something there?
Sure.
So I think it's also I've made the mistake in sometimes in the past putting all my eggs in one basket, right? And depending on just one confidential person to unload all of my emotional baggage onto. Today, just experience has taught me to diversify my support group, right? Like it's not only do I look for a support group for people to support me, but it's a two-way street. I also am part of other people's support group. And just being human, there's only so much support I can give to another person, right? And so what I try to do is to have more than one person, to have a team of people. Okay, this person might know how to deal with financial issues if I'm having that. This person might know how to better deal with health issues. This person might know better how to deal with the relationship issues. This person might know better how to deal with issues as a father. This person might deal with issues better as a son, right? Who do I go to, right? No one's an expert on everything.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And so as I'm creating these bonds with these other men, having them pull from me and the things that I may have experience in or knowledge from, and going to them on the things that they may have knowledge or experience with. And you know, it's each one teach one.
That's right.
Each one teach one. And that's how we change the world and help each other.
And hey, that's why we're still here, CSRN, unified together. This is just a small group of who we are. We just happen to be on this podcast every week, but there's more to this than you may see. Let me check in with Jody. We're talking about Men's Mental Health Month, and these are all I statements, meaning that everyone doesn't recover the same. Everyone may not have the same coping skills, but I definitely could take some of the things that Julian has said and apply them to my life. What about you? What is it? And I laugh because, you know, if ever someone could check all the boxes or check none of the above, it's you. All right. And I always wonder, how does he do this? What do you do, Jody, to keep yourself balanced, solid, and healthy, you know, not only before the pandemic or during the pandemic, and even in this so-called post-pandemic era that we're in today? What do you do?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything and nothing. Like Brother Washington said, I'm a person that can check all the boxes or none of the above. I don't really have I've never been, I don't know. I guess you could call it a lot of detachment issues through foster care and being homeless and losing like 95% of my family due to either murder, suicide, or just disappeared. So attachment issues or judgment wasn't something I got a lot of before I even kind of figured out who I was at 14. I was shipped between 3 different homes, got split up with my sister, and met a whole bunch of foster kids that every now and then I still run into now and are encouraged, or they let me know how me writing books and creating art and gardening and taking board seats from board members that don't want to work and political officers and stuff like that. It's encouraging to them. I have so many people now that message me. I wish I would get on my page, you know, simple like, a review or something, but let me know that they wrote their book because of me.
That's awesome.
Or that they started doing art because of me. And I'm not somebody who's big on screenshotting things or taking credit. Like if you tell me in person I'm happy, again, I would like you to, leave a review, little star or something.
Right.
But that's not necessary because I already did the work. I don't need to show the whole world like, hey, I just gave this person some inspiration. Now give me some likes.
I wish it was that easy.
And it's not. It's mostly
Yeah.
of I don't know. I tell a lot of people, and I write it in my books, my artwork, that I've reinvented myself more times than I think I can count. And it took me being comfortable with myself, who I was when I walk into a room, to be okay, to finally reach a statement of not, I guess, really unbothered. Like I'll go into any room looking just like this. It's a black tie. Well, I got something black on.
And I've seen him do it too.
Yeah.
And I had on a black tie. I'm like, you mean I didn't have to wear this black tie?
People come up to me with newspaper articles, and I don't watch TV, but if you tag me in it, and I'll try and check it out, or something like that. But tell me that you're always on the news and you're always doing something. For me, it's like wake up and breathe. I'm not thinking that I need to be at this story, or this story is about me. I just happen to be there. A lot of times, if you see some of the photos of some of the city events and stuff, I'm in the corner trying to get out of the shot best as possible. But I learned when I wrote my first book that I can't be. If I'm going to be the face of my brand, if I'm going to be my company, then I have to stand by everything I do. It's difficult at times. And again, I get to create art and stickers and all kinds of stuff, like this piece in particular, which is one of the ones for, see if y'all can see that. It's on my page, Pride Village. For June, it incorporated not only English language, but Swahili.
Wow.
I have one piece that has, what was it, 21 different languages. I don't know them languages, but I Googled it, I looked it up, and I put it in my artwork. So somebody, no matter where you are in the world, you can see Chinese, awesome. You can see Swahili, you can see Italian and German and all of these other languages that I just don't understand the tribe mechanism of things that we do now. A lot of times I do see people do things just to get that quick boost or emotional response. A friend of mine, maybe about an hour before our podcast and stuff, had put on a message about social media. I can put up a selfie and get this many likes, but if I put up about my business, I get almost nothing, not even from my family. It's because, and I'll going on record, social media is a place of instant gratification. A lot of people that are here are not here for help or here to evolve. They want to see that fight video. They want to know what this person is gossiping about. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's truthfully nothing wrong with that. But you have to understand that those few that stick around, whether it be 1 like or 100 likes, that's the people you need to concentrate on. That's your tribe right there. If you post a picture of you having a bad day and nobody liked it except a couple people, follow those couple people. The people that like, oh, I'm about to go fly on this trip and do some stuff for myself, and they like it a whole bunch, but they don't comment on nothing else. Try and stay away from those type of people.
Okay, all right, that's awesome. Hey, listen, before we get back to Julian, because we had some political updates that we needed to let everybody know. Then we're going to take a break, come back for 5 minutes of heat. I wanted to thank Jessica Mays and Coffee and Convo today. They started the day off, the Men's Mental Health Month, off with this discussion online of how Black men in particularly have been socialized to not want to accept help. And that's my specialty as a mental health specialist, is to talk to men about coping skills. What can you do? We have a hotline number. Was it 886-712-4401? I might answer the phone when you call, but I'm right here right now. Listen, there's no harm in asking for help. I had to unlearn so many of those things that they say you have to do in order to be a man. Either not crying, not showing affection, not saying I love you, not asking for directions, not asking for help, holding your liquor,
having a whole bunch of female
having
friends.
a whole bunch of female friends or partners. That's what a real man is based on what society says. And it's not true. All right. And there's some separation anxiety that comes with realizing that you've been lied to about who you are. And I had to come to that realization, find some new tools, find some new emotions other than mad, sad, and angry. There's empathy, there's compassion, there's understanding, there's remorse. Just give me 1 second and we'll get to you after I talk about this. But Men's Mental Health Month is an opportunity for us to come from behind the shadows and say that it is okay for this month to talk about this. And hopefully in July, you'll still be talking about it. You had something that you wanted to add to this conversation?
Yeah. I just brought up like a peer support before, but physical fitness is key for mental health, right? And one thing I think somehow has gotten lost in these spaces is prayer. I'm gonna go ahead and say it, right? Prayer, whatever you believe in, right? For me, having a backbone and communicating with a higher power is an important part of my mental health, right? And looking for ways that I can be of service, or looking at ways that like maybe a higher power greater than myself, maybe working through other people is key for me. Right? It's key for me. And it's key for a lot of other people too.
All right.
Yeah. And I do want to say something too, something that's very special about our podcast, speaking on religion and stuff like that. Some you probably won't see in others. You have a Muslim, you have a Buddhist, and you have a
Christian. Yeah.
In one room, we're not arguing.
I had no idea. We need to start arguing. I had no idea. I thought they were both Muslims. All right, we could have been arguing a long time ago. We'd have wasted all this time not arguing.
Yeah, but it's like the famous bar jokes and stuff. Some things you take with a grain of salt, and until you actually meet those people, you shouldn't try and judge them too heavily.
Okay, yeah. I need to add that to my toolkit. Regarding judging having reasonable expectations. Speaking of reasonable expectations, man, we talked about, Ruth was on earlier, and she talked about some of the things we need to be looking out for in the Biden administration. She talked about some international, some national, and then she talked about some of the things that's locally that we need to either give a pound to or look into. Now, also there's some things that we needed to go over with you regarding some things regarding voter suppression, voter registration, or political action in itself. What are some of the things that you've got coming up?
Yeah, there was kind of a thing where I participated in trying to sue the city of Toledo this week. That's kind of a big deal. So on the local level, there's this may be the first time in Toledo's history where the FBI has been investigating the mayor, right? We know that there's 4 city council people that have been indicted, right? But the mayor's office is under investigation. And just to simplify a rather complicated situation, downtown on Summit Street, it's a $10 million project for the Solheim Cup, which is coming this September, right? It's an international event,
right?
Where Toledo will be on the international stage. Buckeye Broadband essentially has a monopoly locally on internet, and they're a utility. Now, all the other utility companies paid their own way. These are multi-million-dollar companies for to
move their cables.
Yeah, to move their cables and for their equipment to be moved due to the construction. Buckeye Broadband chose not to.
Isn't that the Block family?
Yes, that is the Block family, owned by Block Communications, which
throw that out there.
Yeah, right. which if you kind of follow the money. Block Communications also owns the Toledo Blade, owns Buckeye Cable, and owns 13 ABC.
And TDO Outdoor, the billboards.
Hmm.
Yeah.
How about that?
Just not sitting here.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead. Continue on.
So the question is, and I think this is what the FBI is probably wondering, is why would the city of Toledo use our tax dollars when there's a multi-million-dollar company that essentially has a monopoly on a utility? Why is $1 million of our tax dollars being spent for that?
Right.
So, essentially, about a year ago, the city of Toledo decided to pay the $1 million and said, "We got it, Buckeye. Don't worry about it."
Oh, okay, that's
all
nice.
Right? And so now a lot has happened. So there will be some people who give credit to Councilman Ludeman and Councilman Comives who kind of brought
blew
up,
whistle.
blew the whistle a bit. But it was not until a group of citizens, me, former Mayor Cardi Pinkbeiner, Alfonso Navarez, Harold Mosley, and a few others who I can't remember their name. It's total of 7 of us. That was 4 of us. Filed the lawsuit. We were going to sue the city of Toledo to recoup those funds back to the taxpayers. It's called a taxpayer lawsuit.
Okay.
Right. As we go on in activism, we learn new tools. I didn't know this was a tool.
Okay.
Now we got a new tool to use.
Absolutely.
It's called a taxpayer lawsuit. So part of that taxpayer lawsuit is we have to notify the city of this lawsuit, and gave them 24 hours. Within about 6, they did a 180-degree turn, about face, and the city of Toledo decided to sue Buckeye Broadband for essentially $1 million to get that money back.
Really?
That is a 180-degree turn, and doggone it, we celebrate all our victories. So,
right now, however,
shout out to Terry Lodge, right? Who was the mastermind of the law to help put this plan together, as well as Sean Nestor.
However, whenever I've seen someone shoplift at Walmart, at the one on Glendale, even though they caught them and they take the bring the object back, they can still be prosecuted because they stole it.
Yep.
All right. So
it's still confusing though, because the city gave it to them.
Right. So even though the city gave it to them, all right, even though they say they want it back, there was a crime committed.
Right. It's weird. It's like if I work at Walmart, I'm like, "Oh man, go ahead, take this. You cool." Right. And all of a sudden I'm like, "Man, why'd you take that?
Right.
Give me my money back."
Right. Yeah. So
you're gonna get me fired, man.
Right. I should hope so.
And that's essentially what's happening.
But
here.
we so let's maybe make another call to Sean and Cardi that yes, we celebrate this victory. Now let's twist some of the screws.
Oh, so
because there's still some accountability for that. You just don't give it back and say my bad.
So I'm not sure if I because it's some legal things happening. I don't know if I'm privy to say this yet, but there are some actions that will be taken.
Good.
Right. By this same citizen group to ensure that the city doesn't settle. Right. That is an issue that we're well aware of that may happen. We don't want a city paying half the money. We want all our money back.
That's right. And have them held accountable for doing it in the first place.
Exactly.
All right.
Hey, we just gave you a pat on the head about
that's
that.
Okay for one thing.
So now
for one thing, that's okay. I can praise you for one thing and get at you for the next. Yep. All right. That's why I love this work.
Yeah. And I just will add that it is very peculiar that we have a FBI investigation under mayor's administration that does not have an opponent yet. which is quite peculiar. So if you feel like running for mayor, yo, go ahead and do it.
Well, there's one person out there that is already threw her hat in the ring. Not Opal, but one of our comrades, Charmaine Ivy.
I've heard she pulled petitions. I didn't know she turned them in.
So even though people like Julian, Opal, Charmaine may not come from that same mindset that you think a politician should come from, Nick didn't.
Yep.
And look where he is.
Sheena
all right.
didn't.
Sheena didn't.
That's
all right. She palled around with us. Wow. Oh,
that's right.
Right. So, look, unique and strange things are happening in Toledo that can turn the tide of how we look at the people that are charged with representing us, not being politicians.
And on that note, I'm going to add something. I know we're running short on time. We had a picket line outside of BP. There's a rather large facility right outside of Toledo in Oregon, Ohio, where essentially most of the planes, that's where most of the planes from Detroit Airport get their fuel from.
Oh, wow.
Right here outside of Oregon from that BP facility. What whistleblower released was some potentially grave missteps that occurred at that facility that really could put our whole community at risk, but especially put workers, people that work there at risk as well. And what's discovered is that a lot of these mistakes, right, were from people who didn't come from the local, aren't local folks. I really don't know how to say it. They aren't local folks and they aren't unionized folks, right? Which is why they don't have many of the protections or don't have many of the qualifications that other workers have to prevent this kind of thing from happening. So BP was put on notice. There was a safety strike at 6 a.m. on Saturday. The only city council candidate, I guess you could say, was Dr. Michelle Grimm, right, who showed up on the front line.
Okay.
Now I will say I was impressed by that.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
And so as we're going forward, we're going to be looking for our city council to enact legislation,
right,
with these major companies and factories to ensure that we have safety in our neighborhoods and safety for our employees and our brothers and sisters that work in these facilities.
Awesome.
Hey,
okay.
I'm sorry. So while we were talking here in this meeting, I briefly brought it up earlier, but the Senate unanimously passed to make Juneteenth a national holiday. This is, the Senate was the tougher kind of the tougher hurdle to clear. It'll
see if Biden passes.
It'll pass the House, and it's likely Biden will pass it. What makes this particularly interesting, though, is this comes within a backdrop of many of our voting rights being stripped and taken away, and the most aggressive actions for our voting rights to be stripped away since Jim Crow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? In Ohio, in Texas, in Georgia, and so many other states, they're enacting laws that make it more difficult for Black folks to vote. There is a Voting Rights Act that is on the verge of being passed right now. But, I believe Malcolm X said, beware, for us to beware of the white liberal. And Senator Joe Manchin, honestly, with Democrats like that, who needs Republicans, right? Left wing, right wing are similar, are both two sides to the same bird. And essentially, he's holding up the passage of that bill that will ensure millions of Black folks and millions of other people will ensure democracy essentially stands in America. Right. The only way that these people continue to win is they continue to suppress our voice in the ballot box, right? And so, so I think it's important, if I may, just to understand the difference between liberation and symbolic and symbolism, right? I think it is very easy, and I think we should, to an extent, be happy about the symbolism of Juneteenth being a national holiday. That's cool. But what's more important in our path towards liberation is true power and true freedom and true independence.
Okay.
Right. And that is being lost. Our representatives are not liberating us. They're not freeing us.
Right.
And it's what they've always done. So it's the same old. It's the same old tricks.
Right.
So
okay. All right.
So that's it.
All right. Okay. All right. Tell us how you really feel. All right. Beautiful. Hey, listen. Stay tuned. We'll be back with 5 minutes of heat. We got Jody going to drop some heat on us. They put us they put us back on. They put us back on. They didn't cancel us.
Hey, we're back.
I know. I thought they were gonna cancel us, but hey, they ain't got nothing better to do, so they'll keep us on. Hey, we're back. CSRN Weekly Video Minutes, our weekly podcast. We're about to wrap this up and put a bow on it, Jody, in what we call 5 minutes of heat. Jody, what do you have for us today? And then I think we're gonna are we bringing Ruth in for the?
Yes, we are bringing Ruth.
Oh, okay, all right.
Righty. So everyone, wow, this is interesting that I'm going through my messages right now because I do this towards the end.
Oh, okay.
I just got nominated for a National Spoken Word Award for the National Spoken Word.
All right, okay. I don't know if I'd rather clap my hands or snap my fingers. All right.
I'm gonna stomp my feet.
Oh, okay.
So it's very interesting. Again, I've won a few awards and slams. I actually have a slam next weekend for $1,000, and there's just a whole bunch of stuff going on. Of course, next week as it gets closer, I'll be posting and giving over the video file at Brother Washington so we can have it up there. But next weekend, I'm also board member of a whole bunch of things. So I'm not going to name them all, but my two most recent boards that are active now, that is the summer, we come out the house, are the Village on Adams. So
wow, that's big.
Yes, I'm very happy to be a part of that. I volunteered back when we were starting out, and then I became lead volunteer and all this other stuff, and now I'm actually a board member on Adams. And if you don't know where the Village on Adams is, that's from Wesley's, like 1 block after our main library, until the Ottawa Tavern. So that whole space, every year except last year, would be turned into a block party and zombie crawl and a whole bunch of other stuff. And we got things coming out. I'll be posting them on my page and CSRN's because we are a community page. So if anything's going on in the community, you'll see us more heavily delving into that stuff. If there's nothing going on that needs a riot or protest or demonstration,
hey, that's right.
We're going to talk about our community.
Sign me up for the riot. All right.
But so with VOA, of course, we got the block party coming out. I've been letting people know about that. You can check my page out. We have something coming in August for Pride, and then we have Zombie Crawl coming back. But I'm also executive member of Hoodstock. which is an event that got started years and years ago by an awesome person by the name of Devon Fang. Y'all might know him, Burger, Daddy Dave, and several other board members that we are getting ready to start our season, which is going.
I stopped by there today. It was really good.
Yeah, that place is awesome. I'll be doing something there in August, maybe September. I have like 12 events in August, but if I can do it, I will be doing it and making the announcement soon. If not, it'll be in September, but it is going to happen either in August or September for the Toledo's mud sauce. More on that later.
All right.
So today's piece is specifically on this. In 2018, CSRN and PALS both got city resolutions, as we were talking about Juneteenth being a national holiday, and that was big and prevalent last year too. In 2018, we just said, you know what? We want our recognition.
That's
so
right.
we had an event where we got a city resolution for Juneteenth, and PALS, the barbershop or beauty supply store on Nebraska, also had the city recognize Juneteenth.
Beautiful.
So I met my friend Meech. But so today's piece is on that, written back in 2018. It's called Pearly Smile, specifically and dedicated to Juneteenth. So and everybody knows when I perform, I take my tongue ring out so I can hit those certain vibrations and stuff like that. So I thank you all again for continuing to tune in week after week, staying connected with us after all of these years. Remember, you can always get merchandise if you can't send an in-kind donation and you would like something. We have yard signs, we have wristbands, water bottles, keychains, t-shirts, a lot of stuff that a lot of people are beginning to make trendy, and you never know where the money's going. But with us, you know it goes directly back in our community. So
That's right.
if you want to help, shout out to Culture Clash, shout out to Lords, Black Kite Coffee, a lot of places that's helped us over the years, and we love your continued investments within us and within our community. So, Pearly Smile, I hope you enjoy. Let's begin. Peace. I smile and I see your fear. Every ounce of generational regret that pours out from your heart, from ancestors who are no longer here. Yet they plague our day-to-day life with cultural curses that have been shackled to us, as if on weighs down our very souls, encapsulated in a time bubble that reoccurs every holiday to stir up old emotions, revolutions, and stories that are no longer told. I see the sadness in your heart. Centuries of forgotten history that turned revolutions and heroes into martyrs. Retold stories of victories that slaughtered masses mercilessly to keep their stake in this land. Family trees that were uprooted, the nutrient-rich land sucked dry by parasitic people who could only focus on the material wealth they saw before them. I hear the proud people that came before you when you speak. Every generation you raise to remind history you still exist. Every doctor, lawyer, lawmaker, creative innovator, and elder you teach to reach adulthood, who will carry on the stories they thought they could defeat. because creation did not die when they snatched you from your land and decimated the material artifacts that they believed was every piece of your culture. It only solidifies our divinity to go through every hardship this world can offer and still come out with the proud people who have not forgotten what they taught the world. I see hope, yes, hope, behind children's eyes, who have not been tainted by the misdeeds of the world and still have the opportunity to learn their history unbiasedly, without the greed of material functionality and the debt that has increased over the centuries of taught history. That's only led to division, misguided intentions, and deep regret for the trail of lost tears that pour into every empty vessel who give nothing back. Happy Juneteenth. Remember whose sacrifice made your life, worth living. In peace.
All right. Thank you, Jody. Thank you. Hey, listen, I think that now is a great time to wrap it up with our solidarity pledge.
We're going to give Ruth a couple minutes. She in the green room. And we're going to just show you some of the signs.
Right? Well, I don't know if she's in the green room. But anyway, this is if you're feeling, I guess now, if you're feeling stressed or depressed, if you have an issue with substance abuse, give us a call, 886-712-4401. It is okay to ask for help. And also be mindful to help us say no to the stink of the mulch company that wants to put a huge operation at the corner of Byrne and Airport. So join us along with Conrad Soft Car Wash to say no mulch, no stink. And we do have our defund Toledo PD sign. We're still banging on defunding the Toledo police. We believe they have enough guns, they have enough weapons, they have enough tanks. Let's refund Toledo to get some funds to help with crime, help with poverty, not responding to crime. All right, that's what's up. And also, we've got a new shipment of Black Lives Matter signs just in time for the protest season. Be the first on your block to get your Black Lives Matter sign. All of the things that you've seen, just contact us at CSRN.com. Not only donate, but get some good swag too.
And
All
Ruth
right.
just Harlem shaked her way out of the green room.
All right, awesome. Now, if we could, how are we gonna fit Ruth in?
I'm gonna stand right here.
Okay, all right. Oh, okay. Okay. That all right, man. Technology,
Hey,
just
guys.
like that. Hey, now.
What's up?
All right, we just sitting here having a podcast and just having you drop in, see how we do it.
Well, I'm so glad to see you all today. And unfortunately,
The camera's right there.
end of our meeting. And therefore, at the end of all of our meetings, we end with our solidarity pledge. And our solidarity pledge is our promise not only to ourselves, but to each other to continue to fight the good fight until we meet again. So please repeat after me. Everyone say, I. Your name.
Brother Washington.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To love my brothers and my sisters.
To love my brothers and my sisters.
As I love myself.
As I love myself. I.
Say your name.
Brother Washington.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To study to improve myself.
To study to improve myself.
Spiritually. Mentally. Morally. And physically. For the benefit of myself.
For the benefit of myself.
My family. And my people. I. Say your name.
Brother Washington.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To be a part of the solution.
To be a part of the solution.
The process.
The process.
And not the problem.
And not the problem. I.
Say your name.
Brother Washington.
Pledge to strive.
Pledge to strive.
To give all that I can spare.
To give all that I can spare.
Of my time.
Of my time.
My strength.
My strength.
And energy.
And energy.
To achieve.
to achieve
the above said.
the above
Now
said.
give yourselves a round of applause.
Awesome job. Thank you, Ruth. And as always, okay, all right.
We can stop.
Yes, make it stop. And as always, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. Is that a snort? And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter. Justice or else. Peace.
Marathon continue.
All right.